When we're multiplying improper numbers, it's exactly the same as multiplying regular fractions, and that's why it's the way that we want to do it. We're just going to get bigger numbers at the end. So something like this here, 3 times, so we're looking for what is 1/2 of 2/3, or sorry, 3 over 2, so that's 1 and 1/2. And so this is 3 times 1, which is 3, 2 times 2, which is 4, half of 1.5, which is what this is. If we were to make it into a decimal, half of that is 3/4, okay? Which if we were to actually look at the diagrams and such, we would see that that's exactly how it works. The next one here, 4/3 and 6 over 5. 4 times 6 is 24. 3 times 5 is 15. This one, in fact, we can simplify. We can divide both of these by 3. And now sometimes it'll be really easy to see the simplifying, sometimes it'll be a little more difficult. Take a look through and do a little bit of practice, or do a little bit of like trial and error. That's really what it comes down to. It's a little bit of trial and error. Can they both be divided by 2? Well, that's an odd number, so no. Can they both be divided by 3? In this case, yes. And then we work to the next one here. These ones cannot be divided by the same number. 5 is a prime number. It does not go into 8. So that's one of those things that we'll have to take a look at and spend some practice on. The last one here, we have 5 over 3 times 3. Remember, this is 3 over 1. So 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times 1 is 3. These ones can both be divided by 3. And so this is 5 over 1, or 5. Now, there are some simpler ways to do this. And if you want to kind of go through and do some more practice, you want to ask questions on that later on, you gladly can. There are ways of kind of trying to simplify early, but I won't get to that in this video. I may make a second video or a smaller video on how to simplify that. Now let's take a look at mixed numbers. Mixed numbers are a little bit more difficult, and I'm going to lump mixed and improper in together. But mixed numbers are a little bit more difficult, where we can't actually multiply with mixed numbers. So a mixed number must be changed into an improper fraction before any multiplication can be done. So the first thing we need to do is convert it into an improper fraction. Now remember, what we're going to do here is we're going to multiply 2 times 3, and now I'm going to use a little dot here for multiplying. That's another way of showing multiplying. Once you get into using variables, we're definitely going to want that. And then we're going to go up top and we're going to add 2 to that. So this is 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8. Our denominator stays the same. This is our new improper fraction. Okay. So we have 2 holes, so there's 3 pieces in each hole, so that means there's a total of 6 in those 2 holes, and then we add the 2 from the partial one, and that means that there are 8 thirds, or if we cut pizzas into thirds, we would have 8 slices. 2 full pizzas, and then part of a second one there. So let's do a little bit of practice on this here. 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3, and 2 is our same denominator. 3 times 5 plus 2. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. And so we have 17 over 5. 6 times 7 plus 3. 6 times 7 is 42, plus 3 is 45. So this is 45 over 7. Now, I've tried to keep the numbers on the assignments a little bit smaller. So this is a big number. It's going to be a lot harder to multiply if we needed to, but I've tried to keep them a little bit smaller, but we may have to deal with some that are a little bit larger numbers. Now remember that converting back to mixed numbers is possible as well, but an improper fraction is 100% an acceptable answer. In fact, it's often a really good answer. So let's do a little bit of practice here. 1 and 5 over 2 times 2 and 1/4. So what we need to do here is we got to change this one into a mixed number. So 1 times 5 plus 2 is 7 over 5. And we're going to multiply, and again, I'm going to use that little dot. And 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9 over 4. Oops. And we have 7 over 5 times 9 over 4. 7 times 9 is 63. 5 times 4 is 20. And we can try to think, is there anything that can be divided into each? In fact, there is not. And on the next one, yeah, I think we can do it on the next one. I'll show you a bit of a different method on the next one on how we can do that. So this is as simple as it gets. We also know that this could be 3 and 3/20. Okay, that's as a mixed number. If we want to switch it back, we can take 20 out of 6 3 times, and then we can solve from there. Now you'll notice what we would do if we were to keep it as a mixed number, we would multiply the 1 and the 2 together, the 2/5 and the 1/4, and then we'd multiply the 2/5 to the 2 and the 1/4 to the 1, and we would put that all together, and that just becomes a lot of work, and it can become a real mess. So let's take a look at the next one here. Convert these into improper fractions. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So this is 10 over 3. And the next one here is 1 times 4 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So this is 5 over 4. Now I mentioned I'm going to show you a way to make it a little simpler to save us maybe a little bit of work at the end, or it might save us a little bit of work at the end. We can compare across. Okay, we can compare across. The 3 and the 5, we can ask, is there a way that we can divide a number into both 3 and 5? Other than 1? No, so those will stay. Then let's look at 10 and 4. We can divide both of those by 2. So if we divide a top and a bottom by the same number, it can actually simplify it a little bit. So what we're going to get as a result is 5 over 3 times 5 over 2. Okay. Now again, these are not the same fractions, but because we're multiplying, we're able to simplify a little bit. Now if this doesn't make sense, just go back and do it exactly the way we did here. This is now 25 over 6. Okay. And we will end up getting the exact same answer, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. Okay, so 5 times 5 is 25, 3 times 2 is 6, and that will be our final answer. Now if we were to do it, if we were to use these ones here, this will be 10 times 5 is 50, and 3 times 4 is 12. Now you'll notice both of these we can divide by 2, which we did earlier here with smaller numbers, and this will give us 25 over 6, which is in fact the same value there. We just simplified it earlier, and we can do that only with multiplication. So that only works with multiplication, and I will do another video a little bit later with just some other examples to help out a little bit. Now or to show that method a little bit if you have not seen that before. Now your final answer there, or your questions are numbers 3 and 4. They deal with multiplying of improper and mixed numbers, and you can work on those.